uh, 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 Yep, we all know what it is. We all know what this is. Welcome to Sea Monster Live number 45. And celebrating the half centennial of Jaws. We're bringing on the same Mr. Sea King.
Hello.
Eh,
How are we?
And pretty good. And we got Antonio coming up here.
Greetings, everyone. How are you guys doing?
Good.
All right. It's
So,
too humid.
we're talking about the movie, the big one, the one that basically became the biggest blockbuster of all time.
Yeah. Yeah, before I got taught by other biggest summer blockbusters of all time.
But it
But
was the first one.
well, the first one, yeah. Yeah, can't really take that away. Yeah.
So, before we begin, have any of you guys read the book of Jaws?
No.
No, I can't remember. Whereabouts is that in the Bible? Is that between Mark and John, or is that in the Old Testament?
No, he's talking about the original book of Jaws, the novel that the movie's based on.
Oh,
Peter
okay. You
Benchley.
completely missed my joke there. I'm appalled.
Uh oh.
The Book
Oh
of
man.
Jaws, between the Book of Mark and the Book of John. No. Okay. Fuck you.
Hey, also, Steam Monster, by the way, I forgot to ask you, but I sent you something on private on your chat on Discord.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's pretty dope, pretty awesome, quite awesome actually. Really making the shark look pretty scary. There, and we
Oh,
got
was that the
another
one you
person.
put on Twitter earlier?
Yep. Any thoughts
Yeah.
on that?
Okay. He like it. It's the contrast. The black and white definitely gives it a different edge? Question mark.
I guess you
Hi,
can say that.
Hello.
Hello.
I guess
Yo.
me.
Yep. So, how you doing, Lau?
I'm fine. I just finished having like breakfast,
Ah,
so I'm really late. Like it's almost 3 here, but yeah.
In my
yeah.
place, it's literally gonna be 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I definitely don't expect this to be a long man stream. I will say that
Don't
much.
say that.
No, I know. Well, I mean, here's the thing.
I mean,
I do
yeah,
have something. I have something a little later to happen later today, mainly job wise and all that. So, but it won't be until the evening. Until like
but
5.
also next week it's gonna be the big one.
Oh yes, yes, it's gonna be the big. Yep. Stay
Oh,
tuned for
good
that one,
God.
folks. Stay tuned, folks, for
My
next week.
body is not ready for that one.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I guess we'll just kind of get right into it. I suppose talking about the movie about a big old shark, and and a bunch of people
Have
that try to
you have you guys read the novel at any point?
No,
I watched the video comparing it to the movie.
Okay. And you see? And
No.
I mean, yeah, because if I say C, of course, yeah, it could be both.
Oh,
I've not read the book. No.
Sorry, a bunch of fucking children just passed next to me for no reason. Okay, yeah, okay, I have
Eat
it.
them.
I tried, but they ran away. Also, I'm in broad daylight.
The only thing I know from the book is that Clint is like a completely different character in the book.
Yeah,
Hmm.
the thing is, when I read the book, I dropped it for months because the first half, the movie is way better, but then on the second half, there's some stuff that I feel is better than the movie. But overall, it's like a book that's made for. I'm not American, so I don't know how accurate this is, but it feels like it's made for Atlanta housewives to read. I don't know what that means exactly, but I read that description when I was little, and I was like, it feels like something that a housewife would be reading in her spare time in the 60s or something like that. Like it was very sexual, like
What?
yeah.
What
Yeah.
they do with the
Sexual
shark?
as in about the shark?
Yeah, it's a kinky shark. No, actually, the thing is, it's unrelated to shark. It's like this. The wife of the of the protagonist, she cheats on him with the glasses guy.
Oh
Clancy,
yeah,
I think it was
I
his name.
remember that how she was used to be a very popular like a model or something until she had a really rocky relation with Martin.
Yeah, I don't remember if she was a model because like it's been a long time since I read the book. But yeah, she cheats on him, the fucking whore, and he never learns about it. Actually, like Clancy dies, and he never finds out what happened.
wow.
So yeah, Kakri at its most powerful level was like on fucking Jaws, like the book. Like you want to read 50 Shades of Grey and shit like that? No, like go read Jaws.
Jeez. That's wow, very sounds very different from what the movie does.
Yeah, and Clancy, like he's not even like nice about it. Like he fucked her hard. Like you read about it. Yeah. She's like, I thought I would enjoy it, but then it turned like really animalistic, And I was like 16 reading it, and I was like, ugh.
That is just the weirdest shit I ever just heard right now.
Yeah, and that's why it's so weird when you read the book because you will never expect that from the movie. It's like I thought this would be like a story about a shark eating people, not like a cougar eating young children.
Oh my god.
Wow. Yeah. That's yeah. I'm not even sure what
That
to.
often happens with happens with books you find, like especially Stephen King books. You have the main story going on, and then there's something else going on that doesn't appear in the films or the TV shows, but it's usually something like that. It has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the like the main plot of the story. It's just flavor filler? Question mark.
Yeah, I think that happened, for example, we all know what happened in It. I don't think we even need to talk about it. But for example, Pet Cemetery had like an entire plot line about the neighbor's wife that was actually really nice, and it's not in any of the movies.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember that.
I haven't read any of the Stephen King books, so I'm kind of blind on this one.
Well, now is your chance because they've got two films. No, is it a TV show and a film, or is it two TV shows based on the Richard Bachman books?
I have heard that they're making a movie about one of his older books about the kids or just people like walking until they never stop. But
Yeah, the long walk and God, what was the other one? Running Man. They are doing Running Man as per the book.
Running Man again? Nah, but how are we going to make it better than the Arnold Schwarzenegger one that was big?
Well, they
Question.
got
That's the thing, they're basing it on the book rather than the film.
Question. Or is the movie Weapons like from one of the books or something?
weapons. Yeah, there's
It's
like
a-
The one about the missing kids?
yeah.
yeah. I'm not sure. I also know that there was also a movie in February called The Monkey about a killer toy monkey that's based on a Stephen King short story. So you have at least 3 Stephen King movies that came out or about to come out this year.
Oh, you got The Institute as well. That's apparently coming out somewhere.
Oh my god, that's dang! They're just cranking them out.
Maybe he's getting to that age. He's just like, I want to see these made into stuff before I die. Let's just give it to everybody.
Make an adaptation of all my works.
Wait.
The long walk is going to be an interesting one.
Hey, by the way, Cianimus, I forgot to ask you since you worked on the last live stream, but have you seen Jurassic World Rebirth?
No, I have not. I haven't had the impetus to go and see it. I'm still trying to work up the want to go and see Superman, because everybody keeps talking about it. I keep hearing like mixed reviews on it, so I was half tempted to go and see it myself and actually see if it's good.
Cause I'm a punk rocker, baby.
I'm going to watch it for a second time today, actually. I really liked it. So, yeah, you have to
Same.
watch it, like, because everyone's saying some stupid shit about it. Dude, Ben Shapiro is
Well, that's
so
what
like every month. No, actually, every one of his movie reviews, dude, how much? Can you hear me with all the noise, or is it
Yeah.
like?
yeah,
We can
can
hear
go
you.
through.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Dude, like people saying that these movies woke are so fucking pathetic. Like Superman is pretty apolitical, and actually, like Omniviewer just made a video about it like yesterday. That I basically agree with 100%.
Same.
But
Well,
yeah,
this is the thing. Is my Ironheart video that I released literally a couple of hours ago was made because I was listening to EFAP talking about Ironheart, and they said a couple of things in it, and I was like, that doesn't sound quite right. And it was specifically the things I talk about in the video. So then I watched Ironheart, and yeah, it's nowhere near as bad as people are saying it is. And there's even parts in the show where people are like, oh, this shows that she's absolutely terrible. And you're like, well, no, there's a lot more going on here. And it really feels like people are just going to the extreme of like insulting it for no good reason.
Well,
And that's why I'm
well,
listening
that's
to
what-
people talking about Superman and wanting to go see it now.
Well, that's what
you really
happens.
should.
when-
Like, I find it hard for you to have like a bad time with it. It's not like, even if you think that there are some problems, which, for example, I do think that the dialogue is very, explaining to the audience, wink, wink. But even then, like the characters are good enough that you will at least have a good time with it. Yeah, like give it a try. I would say like do it.
As someone who has seen Superman as well, but I can definitely say I have a totally different stance on it than Lau here. I would say you're probably not. I can say it's at least not as bad as like the Flash or Multiverse of Madness or Thor: Love and Thunder. It's at least it's not horrible.
I was gonna say it would have to work hard to be that bad.
Yeah, I mean, but even then, I mean, if you ask me, like I'd say that film has a lot of issues because
really?
I sit on the opposite end of where Lau is and where other folks of ours on the Zim Discord pretty much sort of sit.
I still think that at least we're like on the normal spectrum, because like we're not talking about like the politics or anything like that, because
No,
like
I
those are like the really annoying ones that I've seen a lot of lately, like a lot of on YouTube, even more than on Twitter actually.
yeah, like I never focus on whether or not a movie's woke or anti-woke or anything like that, because like it's like I don't care what the movie's trying to say, or even if it is like apolitical. Like I care about whether or not the movie's well done.
Yeah,
And,
So are we gonna go back to the main topic?
yeah, we may as well.
yeah. The super shark.
Yeah. Well, I
The
mean, he's
mega
not.
shark.
He's not a super. I mean, yeah, he's just a really big shark. It's not really. There isn't really. He's not like extraordinary like megalodon levels of shark, but he's kind of a very very hardier than usual.
Did you all know that
Yeah.
his name was Bruce?
Yeah, like the one from Nemo, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, of course, this one came first, right? But I'm saying that I think that in Nemo they had a shark that was also named Bruce. Yeah.
Yeah, they also call it. Well, in this film they also call it Rogue essentially, because in one, at least one line in the film.
Well, yeah, the name for it, it's the classification of a shark is that when a shark goes rogue, it goes off the beaten track, as it were. So most sharks would normally be, if one goes off somewhere else, it's called a rogue.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like an
It's like a
abnormal
lot of
one.
animals, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as like, I mean, I guess it's kind of Jaws is kind of one of those movies where it's hard to say like, so what do you guys think of Jaws? Like, what's our like general stance on it? But I mean, it's kind of like it's one of those films that it's hard to really say like what we would consider it to be without just feeling like we're repeating like a lot of sentiments, because the film really is like this as iconic and as much of a classic as it is.
I do actually have one thing to say that a lot of people will like strongly disagree with, and a lot of them will like relate to really hard, but they will never admit it. Which is the first time I watched it, I fell asleep. I was so bored, so fucking
Yeah.
bored. But
Really?
for context, yeah, and I think that this is also important to discuss because it's the way in which you watch movies, right? Like that's what makes it or breaks it sometimes. And at the time, we had just started having Netflix. It was like 2013 or something like that. It had become popular recently in my country. We had gotten it, and that was my first time watching the whole thing. And of course, it's not the same watching a movie on the cinema, even if it's like a small cinema that's maybe showing like older movies, than to watch it on your sofa on a Sunday when you're really tired, right? Like sometimes you really need to be in the mood to watch movies, and when you're not, yeah, you can like watch something that's actually really good but be completely bored. And I remember the point where I fell asleep was when he was talking about his experience in the Pacific Ocean, when
Wow.
the captain was talking about it. Yeah.
That's like
I
one
had
of the
gone
most
through the whole
riveting
thing.
scenes in the whole movie.
The
know,
most
right?
iconic scene.
Yeah, but at the time I was like, okay, so this is actually like one of the best parts, and I'm not seeing anything. Like he's just telling me. At the time, I was one of these like annoying little teenagers who were like, oh, I'm more mature now. Now I know things about narrative and all of this, and so I was like, well, this is a clearly violation of the show and tell rule, right? And as a fucking
Yeah.
stupid kid that thought that he knew everything, I wasn't realizing it's not a fucking like it's more like a guide. It's not a rule. Like you can do both things really well. But yeah, I just wasn't in the mood. I
some of the
just
back-
should have watched it.
Some of the background noise kind of like cut some of that out of what you were saying.
Okay,
Yeah, the
so
wind is
what I
really
was,
cucking you there.
yeah, I came to this hole now in the ground, so there should be no wind here.
Okay.
You came
So-
in the hole? What? You should be doing that on
Okay.
stream, man.
Hey, don't tell me what to do. I get off to weird stuff. So anyway,
Leave the
where
goats
did I
alone.
cut? It's not goats, it's children now. I told you, get up to date, dude. Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, where did I cut off? Like,
You were
okay, I
saying you
think
were
that
an arrogant teenager.
yeah, and so I was like, oh, this is like the opposite of show don't tell, right? Like when he's talking about that, and then I fell asleep, and so I was, like starting to finally think critically after liking like Transformers 2 and shit like that. So I thought that was like really
Oh,
really smart, as any teenage does when they finally start, like using their brain for like 2 seconds, and then they think that they have everything figured out. So um, I think that again the mixture of being a lazy Sunday, watching it on Netflix, which honestly is not the way to watch a lot of movies, and watching it with my mom on top of everything, who was like on the phone. Like just I wasn't into it. But probably if I had watched it at a different time, I would have liked it more. So for years, I just thought of Jaws as this overrated movie. Then I read the book, and it didn't really help. Uh, so yeah, like the first half, I read it. I left it for literally like 6 months, and then I forced myself to finish it. And then I watched the second half of the movie, and I was like, oh, actually, like like the movie was better. The second half of the book is a little bit better than the movie in some aspects. And then, like years later, when I went to film school, I finally sat on a theater, like a real one, and I watched it all on my own. And I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, really? And that's when I realized, like, really, some movies shouldn't be watched on your sofa. Like sometimes being too comfortable is distracting. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's what happened.
yeah. I mean, the film is kind of like I would not describe the movie as slow paced. Really, like over time, like I've kind of considered. Like at first, I thought it was like, oh, this was kind of a bit slow, at least like at the start of it. But then, but as the years gone on, and more times I've watched it, including recently, I kind of come to the understanding that it's not really slow paced; it's much more deliberately paced. And like,
Yeah,
I mean, whether you sit on a sofa or not, I mean it really, like, that's just kind of like more or less the setting that you're sort of in. More like, but yeah, like there, if you are kind of like, if you're in a mood that would pretty much would not be able to give that kind of like would put the movie at somewhat of a, or at least like put you at a disadvantage in terms of like being able to fully engage with the movie, then I mean it is what it is, and I can kind of understand that, I suppose, but yeah, Jaws is definitely like a lot more deliberate in terms of like the pacing of how it's telling its story and what and how it sort of like illustrates things and so on.
I find
yeah,
that very interesting because I watched the film. I haven't watched the film in years. Decided to watch it yesterday, and I thought it was very well paced. Just in terms of the fact that you have something that happens straight away, then you have another death. I think it's like 15, 16 minutes later, and then another one shortly after that, and then you have like the guys nearly getting killed when they're mucking around in the pier,
Yeah,
and then the big event, the 4th of July event happens. I think it's almost exactly halfway through. So
yeah.
there's stuff happening, like the beats
constantly.
happening all the way through.
yep.
Yeah,
So as for me, I watched Jaws around further Monday, and my God, it's really really amazing. Like it's one thing to make a good monster movie, but it's another to make a good like a monster movie that has legit solid characters. Like for me, the best movie scenes in the entire movie aren't just the scenes with Shark. It's a scenes where we had scenes with Martin talking, I mean, with Hank. We had scenes with just Hank bickering with Clint, and of course, you get the most iconic scene with Quint talking about his time in World when he was, during the Hiroshima scene where he watched his men getting savagely, brutally murdered by the tons of shark in it. he basically getting obsession with it, and in that you kind of understand where he's coming from and his motivation in general, and it makes his death seem all the more tragic and get a bit sad, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I still actually one of the parts I remember the most about this movie. It's not even as you said, like it's not the shark stuff. It's like when the kid is on a boat and the dad is really scared and the mom is like it's gonna be fine, and then she turns the page on the shark book and she sees the drawing of a shark biting through a boat, and immediately she's like, "Get the fuck out of that thing!" Like that's the moment I really remember.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
that's what Spielberg does. Like to be
Yeah.
fair, like he does little things like that in Jurassic Park. I think it's like the children don't like we love the attractions, and then Grant is like, what are those? And instead of talking about the attractions, like the Ellie tells him it's like little adults, like those little moments of I don't know how to say it. I feel like they're trying to replicate those in some Marvel movies, with the witty characters, having that dialogue that's very uh, I don't know. I feel like we have lost it. Like I don't really know how to describe it nowadays, but I feel like they
Everyone
attempt.
wants to be James Gunn or Josh Whedon, and they fail at it.
Mm, yeah, I would say even Joss Whedon failed at being himself after a little bit because then we realize that he's very one note. But yeah,
I
like
mean,
that.
I can even argue
Yeah.
that James Gunn failed at being James Gunn with Superman at this point.
Yeah,
But
I think the word is
I digress.
charisma. Like the charisma of the characters is something that's very honest when Spielberg is making like his movies, and that's something that really sticks with you. So yeah, like I love the characters in the movie, and I think that reading the book actually made me like them more because I was like, oof, you saved this one, you saved that one. So that was really nice.
Yeah, it's kind of like like another Steven Spielberg classic with Jurassic Park. How the characters and what have you from the original novel are very different from how the Spielberg film kind of adapts them. How they sort of transition from page to screen, if you will.
Spielberg
Yeah.
has that magic, if you will.
Yeah, or maybe it's just kind of like an understanding of like, hey, maybe we could just maybe it's sort of an understanding of maybe maybe it probably would make more sense to make these characters like a bit more likable, so that when something bad happens to them, like we care pretty much, as opposed to going
Yeah.
the riskier route if we can't pull off the risky route.
Yeah. Like in Jurassic Park, what I can say that Steven Spielberg really improved on was the sense of wonder, because in the book, not only you have like dinosaurs eating a baby, basically 3 pages in, I think, or 8 pages in, um, you also just when they go to the park and they see the sauropods, the way it's described is basically like they're looking at trees while they're on the car, and suddenly they realize, oh, some of those trees look kind of weird, and it's actually the necks of the sauropods, like as they're walking, and that's the
Yeah.
reveal. Like compared to the slow reveal that you have in the movie, where you see their reactions and then they're looking up, and then like it's way better than in the movie. But the characters, even though they're different, I don't necessarily think that they're worse. But here in Jaws, with Jaws, like the novel and just the movie, I feel like yeah, he like literally just corrected and improved like the worst ones from the book.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, you pretty much have I really appreciate these sort of I guess you'd say sort of dynamic that when you have the big three that are on the boat, that go out on the boat, Brody, Hooper, and Quint, because you have and how there's sort of dynamics involving the shark as well as just the ocean in general, where you have Brody who had this traumatic childhood experience of nearly of drowning, and that's why he's why he's pretty much really scared to why he's afraid of going out in the water, while he's still ultimately which is ironic when he's living living on a beach,
Yeah.
beachside home or what have you,
Despite
but
how
he has
much he wants to
overcome.
go back to New York.
Yeah, he wants to talk about going back to New York, but he then kind of like has to like step up when his kids are like when one of his kids was like in danger of getting eaten by the shark. So he has to like overcome that sort of fear of the water and the unknown of it and the potential drowning out there to
There is a
try to save
line.
it.
There's a line right after the July 4th attack when they're in the hospital.
Yeah.
He's I think he's got the youngest kid, and then he gives it to the wife, and he says, "I'll take him home," and she goes, "Home to New York?" And he's like, "No, home here."
Here,
And it's
yeah,
just like he's not going on about the fact that he doesn't really belong on the island. He's not an islander, blah 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 blah, and then talking about going home. But then when the chips are down, as they say, she's the one who's like, "Yeah, should we should go. We should go." And he's like, "No, I've got a duty. I've got to stay here. I've got to do my job." It's quite a
yeah.
nice change in attitude.
Yeah, he kind of goes on like that sort of change, that development in the first half. So when you get to the second half, it's like really just when he steps on that boat, it's like, all right, he's about to kind of like he's conquering that fear essentially, and it makes it all the more rewarding when he does defeat the shark. And you have Hooper. Second, you have Hooper, who is the shark expert. He's very fascinated by sharks, but he definitely has a very strong understanding of the danger that this rogue has kind of poses essentially to everybody at Amity and what have you. And you have Quint, who has like a traumatic experience with sharks in particular back in World War II, and that's why he kind of like it kind of informs why he pretty much goes out hunting for these things, killing them, and why he's especially going after this one. And why he even asked for like such a steep price for $10,000 to like work to kill this, to pretty much bring this thing's head to the town, if you will. And then it adds even more to the tragedy. Like his backstory pretty much lends to the tragedy when he kind of pretty much suffers a similar fate as his shipmates back in on the Indianapolis.
I did. There's the first death and his death I found very effective.
Oh yes,
purely because of some of the details that include, like when she dies at the start. I mean, obviously she's screaming, she's flailing around, but in amongst normally you hear people scream all the time in film, and you have to sort of you've got to the point where you're like, yeah, okay, someone's screaming. It kind of loses its effect after a time. But in amongst all her screams, I think she says something like, "Oh God, it hurts," while
yeah.
screaming. It's like, oh,
She,
that really clarifies exactly what the hell is going on here. And yeah,
yeah,
she's
she's
in an
like, "Oh my
incredible
god,
amount of
oh my
pain.
god, it hurts! Go away, go away!" And she gets
Yeah.
dragged down. Like, yeah, there's a lot of detail in the dialogue in terms of like how much pain and how much tear is just going through all her synapses, if you will, during that scene.
And Quinn as well. When he does, there's no music when he dies. Normally, in a lot of films, when someone's done, it's a dramatic scene, like, da, 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 but there's absolutely no music. Incredibly diegetic in this scene. You're just listening to him, and it's the struggle. You could feel his position because the shark is there, and the only thing keeping him from being inside it is his foot on its face, and
Yeah.
it's just listening to him struggling to keep himself from going in and eventually failing. It's like, oh, that's just,
Yeah.
oh, that just makes it so much more visceral.
Yeah. I mean, during that scene, I have noticed there's some times like, mainly in the sound where I kind of noticed where they may have made some edits during the scene because, I can only imagine that it was much more gruesome than what we actually see in the film. So it's kind of so maybe Spielberg just kind of like got some notes saying like, look, you gotta you're gonna have to like edit some parts of this of Quint's death like out because it's way too gruesome. Like we're already edging towards an R rating with this, with some of the gory bits that we already have here. You want that PG rating, you'd have to cut that down. It'd be interesting to see what some of that restored bits there, if there was any, what his death actually would have looked like if they kept it in, if they just went full
I
steam
know
ahead and make it R-rated.
they changed a bunch of different details here and there, like in his original cut. I remember watching a documentary somewhere, where he was explaining that in the scene where I don't know the names. The chief was throwing out chum into the water, and
Yeah.
he turns around and says, "Why can't you come and do this shit?" And then the shark jumps out the water behind him, like out of
Yeah.
focus.
Oh yeah, I
Apparently,
remember it.
in
It's one of the
in
more
the
iconic scenes.
documentary, Spielberg says the him saying shit was meant to be a comedy moment because at the time swearing on film was like a what do you call it? Taboo thing. And when you
Yeah.
did hear it, it's like, oh, look, he just said a swear word type thing. So having that followed by the shark jumping out and scaring the shit out of people is like it
Yeah.
was a good combo, which he then fucked up because he put the body in the boat earlier in the film. He added that in afterwards. And when he showed it to test audiences, he didn't get the same reaction again. And he says in the documentary that he kind of he messed up their trust in him almost. Like because he put that jump scare in earlier, when he got to the jump scare later, it didn't work as well.
Interesting. So you're saying like the jump scare with the body in the boat, kind of like had people just get conditioned people to have it be like, oh, anytime when the shark pops up for a jump scare, it's not, like they weren't laughing at it like he was hoping they would, because like the shark popping up was supposed to be a funny
Yeah, because
bit.
when
Or
in the original cut of like his first test audience, when the guy's getting the shark tooth from the boat, he just gets
yeah,
the shark tooth and then goes back to his boat. But
hmm,
in the actual theatrical release, the body sticks its face out, and that causes a jump scare. But that
yeah,
jump scare earlier then caused people to be more wary later in the film of jump scares like that.
yeah, interesting. I mean, I guess I don't know whether Spielberg kind of like intended for the shark jump scare with the chum to be like a funny moment or not. I guess it's like it kind of it's
It
pretty
was
neat.
meant to be. It's the funny moment followed immediately by the scary moment, and it's meant to make that sort of transition of emotional states from ha ha ha, oh my god, sort of thing. But what he then ruined by having the jump scare earlier.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting because the body jump scare was like so like long before like this other jump scare. You would think that like the distance of time would have just been like, all right, like, but I guess like
That's what Spielberg attributed it to.
yeah. Yeah, I guess it certainly helps that you would still like when the guys are out in the water, like you would be on edge with the rest of them, with the guys themselves. When it comes to deal with the shark that could just pop up at any moment. And yeah, let me just say, like even after having seen the movie like several times, knowing when the jump scares kind of happen more or less, they're still effective pretty much, like because they build them up really well, like the mood and what and all that. So like when the shark pops up or when something pops up, you're like, god damn, get the shit out of me.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have anything to say about the first scene that was in the movie?
Oh yeah, the girl. We kind of mentioned a little bit of like how about like the dialogue that the girl has when she's getting thrashed around. But yeah, it's a very effective opening. Like the fact that we don't. Yeah, it pretty much lends to how like the less you see the shark, the scarier it kind of is, because like you don't know when that fucker is gonna pop up. But when we do see it, it pretty much leaves an impact. Like even when you see like some of the shots where we get to see like the grand scope of this thing swimming around the boat, yeah, it's really it just goes to show like yeah, that's the shark that's that's a shark that can swallow you whole. Yeah.
I was going to say, what was it? The fact that the shark is so big and all this sort of thing. When watching the film, I was just sitting there thinking, there's so many like monster movie tropes in this. Like, here is a shark, but it's bigger than normal. Here's a shark, but it's doing something different from normal. oh, these 2 barrels will stop it from sinking, and then it sinks. And he's like, oh, well, 3 barrels, it absolutely cannot sink with 3 barrels. It sinks. It's loads of monster movie tropes are in this film, but because they are implemented as well as they are, they don't stand out as much. They don't seem as corny as much.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
and
because
maybe
it's the founder or like the one that started it all because it's so effective.
No, you got
yeah,
like all the monster films from the 50s and whatnot doing stuff exactly like that. Like, here's a creature that we know of, but it's bigger and stuff like that. But they're just the tropes that are then just better done.
yeah. It's
Or-
sort of like the execution of how they're implemented. That kind of that really makes the difference. Where you have like to where you could understand if someone would be like, "Man, Jaws seems like a progenitor for a lot of these tropes." It's like not really. It's just that in the specific style, in terms of like how Spielberg did it, it feels fresh and new, essentially. Right down to where like you can understand, like, I could obviously see why Adam Wingard has that moment where Godzilla drags like a part of like a destroyer, towards Kong and GVK, and the part of
But
the destroyer is
also
water.
in KOTM there's the Orca reference. In 2014 there's the Brodies. So yeah, Monsterverse really loves respecting Jaws.
And -1.
Yeah, -1. Yep. Yeah, -1 definitely has a has a lot of Jaws influence there. Like, can't really miss it.
Like just the fact that like the first scene was at night, like you, as you said, like you don't even know where it's coming from, but also like the water is like it's black, like it's the darkness basically. It's like being in space, which is funny
Yeah.
because Aliens was sold as Jaws in space, and
Really?
so yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that there's like the thing with darkness and the ocean is like the best combination you can have because
Oh,
like
yeah.
the friend is coming from below, it's coming from the sides, and if you're underwater, it can come from above. Also, like it's horrible. I don't know why people go into the water to be fair,
Yeah.
like open ocean.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of one of those things where, well, why would anything kind of go into water? Just that, it's kind of like meant to be kind of soothing, if you will, meant to, as we would go, yes, this is a, chillaxing kind of thing, without realizing that, oh yeah, if you go out too far, you could get your ass, that could be your ass out there.
Yeah, and
Your
also
ass is
like you never
grass.
know what's literally swimming next to you because you don't have a way to hear it underwater either. So
Yeah, and that's kind of like what makes it pretty much makes why the underwater setting can be really effective, if you will, or even just out in the ocean, like how like the fact it makes like how effective of a villain of a monster the shark in Jaws really is, because like even if it's not like it doesn't necessarily need to be like 100 feet long or anything like that. It doesn't need to be like prehistoric or crazy like that. It could just
We're
be
not
like
facing off against Megalon.
Megalon. No, we're not definitely not
Megalon.
facing Megalon.
Megalodon.
Megalon. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, like it's kind of more like an above average size great white. But
yeah,
it's still scary as hell. When the thing is like coming at you. But yeah, I mean it's like let me just say like I mean I am very fascinated by sharks in general. Like I do think sharks are pretty cool and all that, and how very and then yeah, there is like a bit of like a shame like how the movie did sort of popularize the idea of like
Oh yeah,
sharks.
can we talk about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, we may as well get into that, for a bit. Yeah, like the fact that the movie just popularized how sharks are like just scary monsters and what have you, when really they're just pretty much a part of nature and all that. It's just that the shark in Jaws, there isn't really a whole there isn't much nuance to it beyond the fact that it's a shark that just kind of became like, you can even argue it's a bit like an invasive species, because like a great white isn't even supposed to be at that point around Amity.
If anything,
Well,
the
but also
dolphins
like
are more
the
scarier.
yeah, and actually, you know what's funny? In the novel, they have a dead baby dolphin that they used to attract the shark. They had to cut that out of the movie, I think, right? Like it's not in the movie. Last time that I watched it, I don't remember seeing any baby dolphins. Were there?
Hmm.
No.
No, they
Okay,
didn't.
so it was cut out of the novel. Okay, okay. I mean, of the movie. That's a good thing. I think maybe it will have been a little bit too disgusting. But like talking about the sharks and how it, well, a lot of people started killing sharks straight up after this movie, and the author um, says and has said many times literally the same thing as with the alpha male wolf researcher. They both say, I wish I had never made that fucking book because it damaged society in such a horrible way. And because, yeah, again, like people were just killing sharks all the fucking time for a couple of decades, actually. And then
Yeah,
you have
and
Shark Week and shit like that to make it even worse.
Yeah, like just kind of like essentially just like just sort of flanderizing everything and just making it seem like sharks or like they're like no sharks they're scary, they're kind of they're evil, they'll because they attack humans and all that. It's like no they're just no like you can't just like go around killing sharks willy-nilly just because a movie scared you into doing it when the movie never even intended for that to happen in the first place. If anything, sharks they're kind of a very important part of our ecosystem, the oceanic ecosystem, or even
They're
just
like one of the oldest species out there.
Yeah.
I mean, like without sharks, we could lead to overpopulation of like like other animals that sharks would hunt, and that could lead to a domino effect where things could go all kinds of wrong, what have you, because overpopulation could lead to mass death, what have you, because there's not enough, not enough of food supply. Even for as vast as the ocean is, like there's still a limited supply, a finite amount of what animals like dolphins or crabs or whales or tuna, and so on and so on could thrive on. So
Yeah, if anything, actually, we should be killing orcas, not sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
considering
like
how
think about it.
dangerous they are.
Yeah, like orcas are actually going into different territories and starting to kill off different species that they weren't really killing before. And their numbers are getting a little bit out of control too, like, in some parts of the world. So, and also, like if you take a bunch of cops to the sea, they should be killing the orcas because they're mostly black.
Oh no! Oh no!
Racism.
Oh no! But oh no, we got a free Willy, because Willy's a whale.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, dude, like the actual story of the Willy Whale, like the actor orca. I don't know what you will call it. It's so horrible. Like after that movie, it all went downhill. But yeah. Anyway, sharks are not even like the most sadistic or dangerous species out there. It's just that
Like,
sometimes they bite us and sometimes we
look
die.
no
But
further
yeah,
than the hippos.
yeah, hippos. Actually, I'm surprised that there's no horror movies with hippos. Probably
Hmm.
because you cannot film a hippo without getting everyone killed in the studio. So that's why probably it never happened.
Yeah, people
Even
just kind of
lions, you can tame.
yeah, people just kind of like use like lions or what have you as just or crocodiles as like examples. Like, oh, these are predatory creatures that will kill you, pretty much. It's like what about the hip? What about those fucking hippos there? Like they like hippos are like arguably even worse than lions. Like lions, they're
Hippos
just
even
like chilling
contaminate.
out.
Yeah, hippos actually can contaminate an entire lake because of how much the motherfuckers shit to the point where fish will die out. It's not. I'm not
They
even
kill
joking.
their
Like that
own
has happened in
babies
some
for
parts
crying
of.
out loud.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck hippos. Actually, you know what? Don't kill the orcas. First, let's all kill hippos. Those things have a lot of meat for us to eat. It's actually super ecological. It's good for the economy. We need more hippos dead. That's what we should do in Minecraft, because otherwise, then I'll get the stream banned. So in Minecraft.
Yeah, we'll just in Minecraft we'll just we'll put that caveat there.
Yeah.
We do not endorse relentless, malicious like like killing of hippos and what have you. We don't endorse.
I mean, you can try if you want to, but it's not like you're gonna survive. Like those things can take a shotgun to the head. So actually, we physically could not enforce it. It's impossible to kill one of those things.
Pretty bloody thick.
Yeah, you will need a tank to shoot a hippo.
You would just need a compressed air tank like what they use in Jaws.
Yeah, in Wakanda Forever, no, Black Panther, the first one, when they have like the armor rhinos, that's so stupid. They should have used hippos. They don't even need armor. They will have killed everyone. Yeah.
I know, right? The movie would probably.
The sequel.
Yeah, that's assuming anyone wants.
The Atlanteans coming with war hippos.
Well, actually, another reason to try to kill more hippos
and leviathans and megalodons.
Actually, another reason to try to exterminate all hippos, destroy all hippos, if you will. We need to destroy them all because they have relations to narco traffic. Like in Colombia, all hippos, all their livelihood comes from cocaine. So they are the enemy of the normal man. By the way, do you actually know anything about the cocaine hippos, or do you think that I'm just making it up as a joke?
Cocaine hippos?
That's like my first time hearing about this.
You really don't know about the cocaine hippos?
I mean, the most I know about this that they really know how to have a massive amount of fits.
No. So basically, Pablo Escobar in Colombia brought a bunch of hippos to the country because he was a piece of shit. And even after his death, he needs to fuck up everyone's lives. And thank God, somehow, hippos haven't killed any children in Colombia yet, but their population has gone up. And remember what I told you, that they shit so much that they literally pollute the water? Well, that's happening in some lakes in Colombia. And so you have a growing population of cocaine hippos because, yes, they were brought to the country with cocaine money. That's like slowly but surely going to get out of control, and people don't really know what to do about it. But there are already talks of plans on what they should do, because soon, not necessarily next year or maybe not the next after that, but soon hippos will get into the populated areas and it will be bad. So yeah, those are the cocaine hippos of Colombia. The more you know.
The Colombian hippo war begins.
Yeah. It's Pablo Escobar's ghost riding the alpha.
At this point, we're gonna need tanks, rocket launchers, helicopters just to put them down.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
We should use sharks to kill hippos. That will be the shark redemption arc for humanity.
Yes.
We need to bring back Megalodon, and then he can whoop their asses.
Well, here's the thing: there aren't any water mosquitoes that drank like shark blood and get frozen in amber for that to happen. So that's gonna be
fine.
All we need is tralalero, tralala. Okay, we need tralalero, tralala to come back. Like the shark with the three shoes, and that's how we beat all the hippos in Colombia.
What insane acid trip have we just gone on?
We could write the next Hedra movie.
Yeah.
We can make an entire sci-fi movie about this.
Yeah.
You could just make like a hippo version of like Daybreakers, where hippos have just like wiped out most of humanity because they've been using them as a food supply, and there's like a few remaining to try to figure out how to cure the hippos' need to kill humans.
And then you have a were hippo. a man who got bitten by a hippopotamus survived, and now every full moon transforms into an abomination.
Moving on.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Go. And do we have anything else to say about like the real life consequences of the book? Like anyone wants to say something else, or should we move on from that one?
I guess it's kind of like, I guess we could just kind of move on pretty much. I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, sharks are good for the environment, people. Just so you know, sharks are pretty good. I mean, obviously, we don't want it's sort of a give and take. You don't want sharks to overpopulate. That's fair,
And
but you don't
also
want
no dolphins.
to. Okay, yeah, fuck dolphins. Not literally though.
Well, uh, you should tell that to SeaWorld's trainers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fuck. Dude,
Uh,
dolphins are so fucking horrible. Anyway, so like coming back to to sharks,
yeah.
there's one thing in the book that the guy did, and at the time, you could have thought that it was, like, oh, he's trying to say that this shark is like totally abnormal. But then, with the context of him regretting, his ignorance and all of that, you realize he was just making the shark behave like a monster. It's in the book. You know that scene where you first see the shark when the guy is like throwing chum into the ocean?
Yeah.
In the book, he's doing that, and then when he looks to the side, he realizes that he doesn't know how long it's been, but the shark has poked its head out of the water, and it's just floating there looking at him. That's one of the parts that I feel like the book did way better, because first of all, if you know anything about sharks, they shouldn't be able to do that because they need to constantly move. So the fact that it's like literally staring at the guy will mean that it has like a higher level of intelligence, like it's actually like looking at him on purpose. And so it gives it a side of evilness that you don't really have in the movie because it's just an animal. And
Right.
again, like at the first time I read the book, I was like, oh, like it's interesting that he's making this shark a little bit more smart, I guess. But yeah, then I realized no, it's just that he didn't know anything about sharks. And it's funny that later on in movies, they go and they give the sharks like enough intelligence to have a grudge on people down the
Oh my
franchise,
god,
like with the sequels.
they even start roaring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it like those type of behaviors that people complain about in the sequels actually were in the actual first book. And again, like you can see it as like creepy, like the shark is poking, it's been looking at you and you weren't even realizing that he was there. But also
Yeah.
it's kind of like Michael Myers behavior, which again like becomes one of those bad things that happened down the line. So some of these
Yeah.
problems were coming from the book itself. And we're shitting on the sequels. So
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of goes to show that there's just like that sometimes, a novel kind of like does something that may not really translate well into a movie, and that's why the original film just kind of omits some of those out. I mean, like there's like a one moment where like after the shark kind of gets his head blown up by Brody, at the end, like you hear like as its body, starts descending, and all that, like you kind of hear a little gurgle type sound, as it's
Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
connection to his previous film. Oh god, what the hell was it called? The one with the lorry. Duel? Because at the end of the film Duel that Steven Spielberg did, where the guy's getting chased by the guy in the tanker, I think it is, like an oil tanker or something like that. Anyway, at the end of the film, the lorry goes off the cliff and he puts in, it's the Roar. Oh God, what's that old dinosaur film? But it's the old classic Roar, and he puts that into the sound of the lorry crashing as it falls off the cliff. And because he had it there, Spielberg put it into Jaws when Jaws died, but he muffled it down so it wasn't so obvious.
That is That's interesting. Because I've never seen that other film, so yeah, I wouldn't really be able to catch the connection there. But yeah, that is interesting.
Wait, Cianimous, is that the movie where two girls jump off a cliff on a car?
No, that's Thelma and Louise.
Okay, then sorry, then I don't
Jewel
know
is
which one it is. Jewel.
Duel. It's literally. I'm trying to remember how the film starts. It's been God knows how long since I've watched it, but it's literally just a guy. I think a guy overtakes a lorry, and then the lorry driver gets really pissed off and just starts chasing the car driver down, and that's the film.
Hmm.
Okay,
So
at least I know something to watch later on because it sounds interesting.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. That's like a. Yeah, yeah, pretty much like aside from that sound, the jaw, that the shark makes when it dies, pretty much more or less. There isn't really anything too outlandish that the shark kind of does in the movie. That you wouldn't really expect a shark to kind of do in real life.
I say weirdly,
Um,
what we know now, the shark doesn't do enough. Is that we know sharks can clear jump out the water, so that
Yeah,
when it jumps on the boat, it could have done it much better.
yeah, he easily could have. Yeah, he really could have. Yeah, there's he pretty much could have with the kids with Brody's kid and the other kids on that boat. When they're at the lake or the pond. I mean,
Oh
like
yeah, it could have split the boat in half.
he could have split the boat in half, or even just sort of jump and just sort of take a chomp on one of the kid's head off. Pretty much. He could have done that.
That is actually, it reminds me of the really creepy bit where he knocks everybody off their boats, and then that guy is trying to get back into his little boat, and you can just see the shark under the water very
Oh yeah,
slowly coming up on him and
yeah.
grabbing him.
Yeah, that's a really effective shot. You could it's like, oh shit, there he is. This guy's so screwed. He's dead. He's dead. He doesn't even know it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I guess it kind of goes to show, I guess the reason it kind of makes the film all the more effective that the shark, does kind of just not really do too much crazy stuff because of the fact that they had limitations at the time, primarily with the shark animatronic. Apparently they've had oh, Javana was here for a bit, but he's going right now. Yeah, take care, man. But yeah, the shark animatronic. Apparently, they've had a lot of troubles with it, during filming, and so it kind of lends to it pretty much actually lends to the effectiveness that we don't see the shark a whole lot to kind of hide the fact that the thing wasn't working properly.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it's like when
I,
you see modern Predator films, like when you see the original Predator film, animatronic on the face is really good. But as the films went on, they went, oh, we need to add more animatronics into the face. And then you start to see them just sticking the camera in the predator's face whilst all its the little mouth bits move. And you're just sitting there going, why are we watching this? Why?
yeah, and they already started doing that in Predator 2, by the way, with the animatronic eyes. I like the shot where the Predator wakes up and he just looks around, looks very gremlin-ish. I don't know how to explain it. It just always reminded me of the Gremlins moving all of their face compared to a Predator.
Yeah, it's almost like there's sort of a weird.
Limitations help.
Yeah, limitations kind of help in the limitate. There's a bit of a balance between what you can do and recognizing your limits. Pretty much that kind of adds to the verisimilitude in a film when whether you're doing a Jaws movie or Predator or what have you. Yeah.
I do like the fact that I can't remember the scientist.
Hooper.
He ended up surviving the film because of the shark in the cage scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died in the book. So since they made him likable in the movie, I guess since you guys watched the documentary, apparently, like, do you know if the change was made because maybe Spielberg ended up liking a lot of the changes he made for the
Um,
character, or just because he was trying
no,
not to make it too depressing?
it was purely because when they had the real shark attacking the cage, the real shark, like you see the clips in the film, he's like he absolutely just goes ham on the cage, absolutely just tears it apart. And Spielberg was like, "Wow, this is great, this is awesome." Shit, we didn't have a miniature in the cage of the bloke. Shit. Oh
Yeah.
well, he survives now.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll just have like a scene of it or moment where he escapes the attack, pretty much. we'll just
Yeah.
we'll just go from there. Yeah,
So
and you go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say after we talk about the scene of how Cooper survived, I was just gonna ask, are we gonna talk about like Quint's speech about the World War II, about what has happened to his men?
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess we if we want to get into that pretty much because like yeah, I mean it's just the main thing to note about like Hooper is like how like there was like they made a goof but they kind of like corrected it in terms of when they were filming the scene. So, but
Yeah, I like
yeah,
those. I love little details like that because it shows that the filmmaker is like aware of like he has a plan, but the plan can change based on like who, what, where, how, why, and can sometimes improve the film. But it just shows that a skill that a lot of other films don't have. Like Joker, like I love the fact that Joker, like there's quite a few bits of the film which are almost ad libbed because they had
Improvise.
ideas for what to do and then they changed them on the day.
Yeah, like the bathroom scene specifically. Like that's the one that they have always said. Like we just thought that it would be stupid for him to like throw away the weapon because we didn't think that he will have the knowledge to like hide. So we just changed the whole thing, and that's how they ended up with Joker dancing to calm down.
yeah,
And it's funny that Steven Spielberg then had more issues with animatronics in Jurassic Park, but like that time, it wasn't like restricting. It's just that they, thankfully, with the technology, they just had to work around it and dry the animatronic a little bit, and so they could still do everything they wanted to do, but like still, they have the same problems.
yeah.
It's just that with the advancement of technology, you have ways to fix it.
Yeah, because like Jaws was like a smaller budgeted film, like or much more limited in terms of budget and resources. They pretty much had to really work around it. Whereas Jurassic Park, like like considering that Spielberg was a household name at that point, like like they pretty much have like maybe not limitless resources and budget, but at least but they definitely have like a lot of significant amount more so than what he had in Jaws. So but even then they still had to like work around some things, which
Yeah.
So are we gonna talk about Quint's speech?
yes, well, we'll get into that. Yeah, let's get to that, shall we? Uh, yeah. Um, so I don't know who wants to start. It's making a point about that.
Well, for
Well,
one thing,
since
you can.
I just wanted to say really fast, since I started with the story of how at first that was like the scene that like bored me to the point where I just fell asleep. Um, yeah, like last time I watched it, I fucking loved it. I also do think that it's one of the best parts of the movie. Um, just it's very hard to have someone just tell a story and make it good in a film, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't really understand, like the difficulty of actually having someone tell something for like 10 minutes straight. It's not the same as when you have someone with you, like on a fire camp or something like that. Like you have to do so much so people don't get bored and it's engaging. And I feel like it's perfectly doing that from the beginning of the scene to the end. I love it.
The animus?
I more liked the setup for it than the actual story itself. Because the story
Uh,
itself is simply we got attacked by sharks and it was harrowing. And yeah, that is an effective speech. But it was more the lead up to it where they have the that's actually a really good detail I liked. Because they have the back and forth, and they go, well, here's my scar, and then here's my scar, and then it goes into jokes. And then I think it's the chief spots that
yeah,
Quinn has the tattoo removed, and scientist guy's like, "Oh, did that used to say your mother?" Ha 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 ha. And
His
he's like,
name is
"No,
Hopkins,
that was
CNMS.
the bow." And then it's like, "Vubumph."
yeah. Hmm?
So, as for me, the reason why absolutely adore this scene is because not only does it very deep and thematic, but also it's just feels so deep. Like it's a scene, it's a speech that genuinely tells you all about Quint and what his deal is, and also very much explains what his deal is about, why he's so obsessed with sharks. But also it's a scene that tells you, the absolute harsh and just brutality of the environment that he had to do. Like the fact that he had to watch a lot of people which he could consider like his closest friends, even his best, his allies, if you will, and to see them all getting killed one by one and by almost every shark out there in that water, or in this case, the ocean. Like it was just something so horrifying to think about. Like it's something that you can both understand and relate to him in a way. You genuinely kind of feel bad for Quint and his mental health, and you at least understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Also, like the fact that they were delivering the bomb, you know, and then all of that happened. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I forgot
unless I'm
to mention that
misremembering,
bomb.
they delivered the bomb that they used in Hiroshima, right, or something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
He said Hiroshima.
So it's in a way, if you want to say it that way, it's almost like a divine punishment. Like nature, like punishing man in a way. With through the sharks, which are like the most primitive form of life that we have on Earth,
I mean
basically.
it is the oldest species out there, so you could kind of say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, or at least among the oldest species out there. Yeah, and you could say you could even see the shark in Jaws, like coming after Quint as being like sort of like the divine punishment of sorts, like coming coming due for him essentially. But yeah, like it's a very effective scene because of like not just with the dialogue and what have you, and and Robert Shaw doing turning in
You
like a
could you
powerhouse
could thank
performance.
you could
But
thank Willie Hannes for this moment if you want to know.
hmm?
If it
What?
wasn't for Willie Hannes, I probably would not have even bothered to think about this scene.
Brutally honest.
Yes, he referenced that scene when he was talking about his KOTM review.
Oh,
I didn't
interesting.
know that.
If you want to know,
I don't see the relation with King of the
it,
Monsters though. Like
it
how
was
does it relate?
he was talking. He referenced the scene when he was, talking about how Rodent like decimated the entirety of Isla de Mara, and how Monarch didn't do anything to stop it, and he was basically using the scene from Jaws to point a reference to it.
Um, I'm I'm not
To be
sure
fair,
how.
I don't really get it. Yeah, me neither. Yeah,
Yeah,
I will
look,
have to watch the video.
yeah,
I'm
moving
not
on.
entirely. I'm not entirely sure what the. It's just that I don't know what Quint's speech has to do with the whole thing with the Isla Damara sequence in King of Monsters, because those are because one of them is an action sequence and the other is a character monologue, if you will, like a character monologue that's almost akin to them telling a ghost story, about their life or what have you.
Again, it's something that you should watch it. It's something that it was from him, not me.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
There's
Yeah. I don't
another
know.
detail. Sorry, there's another detail I wanted to point out that I don't. I literally I saw it in the film. I thought, has anybody else talked about this? I don't remember anyone saying anything about this. When they're comparing scars and they're going on about, oh, this is from this shark, or this is from this accident, or this is from this bar fight, or whatever.
Hmm.
And the chief pulls up his shirt and he's got a scar on his stomach, but then he very quickly just pulls the shirt down and like doesn't say anything. And it's one of those really subtle things of you see it a lot in TV shows nowadays. They'll say, "Oh, you're a big shot detective from this big city, but you've moved into this small town. Why have you done that?" And eventually, at some point, they'll explain what happened to them or why they moved down there, etc. This feels like that, but completely unspoken. Like maybe the chief was shot in New York and he decided that he would move his family to some random island somewhere to keep them safe, but all
Hmm.
spoken in literally him pulling his shirt up to briefly show a scar on his stomach. Like I
Hmm.
said, I don't remember ever seeing anybody talk about that.
Yeah.
Is it,
Actually, yeah. I know. I've kind of noticed that. I was like, was that explored in the novel? Okay, here. What was Brody's scar in Jaws? Okay. So, all right. Here's what I got. In the movie Jaws,
it,
Brody's scar is revealed to be an appendectomy. An appendectomy. So let me see. Appendectomy.
Had his appendix removed?
like a pancreas thing?
Yeah, appendectomy. Let me just see. A surgical procedure to remove an appendix. Hmm.
Oh,
Well, that's anticlimactic, dude. I'd rather have Animus's theory on it. To be fair,
Yeah, I mean, I guess I mean, they're still talking about scars and all that in the scene. So obviously, an appendix removed with that's something
yeah,
that would.
and also like to be fair, like if they don't say it in the movie, you could see it in any way you want. I'm going to pretend
yeah,
that what
that's
the
not the
Animus
author,
said
baby.
is exactly because
Hmm.
it feels very also like, dude, everyone's showing like their scars from like really cool shit, and you show it from a appendectomy. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, yeah, I was bitten by a shark 17 times on the neck. And the other guy's like, yeah, I had my pancreas taken out. Look, it's like, it's not the same, dude. Like, don't show it. So I rather think that it was like a stab wound, maybe even, you know.
I
And yeah,
mean,
like that's why he went back to like a little town.
hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I get. Yeah, maybe they were just meant to be. Yeah, who I don't know. Like I don't know. I was just googling this, and that's what they just put. What it says right here. What it just said.
I don't know where they pulled it from because, like, to be fair, it's been a long time since I read the book, but I don't remember seeing them. Oh, I mean, yeah, I don't remember that in the book. It might have been like a Spielberg thing, or maybe it was extended from something very, very short from the novel. But yeah, like the appendectomy might be like a thing that someone said later on. Like on the. Oh no!
Yeah, I mean, apparently it's yeah it yeah. I mean, apparently there's just been fan theories or what have you, or what have you about It's like, oh, that's like an appendectomy, or there's I'm just trying to check. Oh, the book. Apparently, the book says it's an appendectomy scar. But in the movie, obviously in the movie they don't know. I mean, the book could be able to, you know, could elaborate more on like what that is. Whereas in the movie they just, he doesn't outright state it. Because apparently, like he doesn't show it or bring attention to it because it's not as like like it's not as fascinating of a story about how he got it as compared to the
Oh,
shark.
Wow
Shark
just left.
bite, have you?
Wow just left.
No, just okay. Give me a second. Give him a minute.
But before he comes back, do you guys have any thoughts like on the main theme of the movie, like the main song for the Jaws?
I mean, it's one of the most iconic film themes of all time, pretty much. And when it first plays at during the opening credits of the movie, it gets you like it represents the shark really really well, where it's just like this looming threat that's just steadily coming towards you, pretty much, and it just crescendos into like an attack. Yeah, it fits it really well.
So, Scammers, you have anything to say that?
It's one of those really weird things where the song is iconic, just like the build up to it and everything. To the point, but it's also like the crescendo, is that what it's called, where it gets like to the peak of it, and it's like da 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 da. That
Yeah.
part of it is very. It sounds very generic to me. That part of it, just you can see it. Feel a lot of films at the time will use a similar musical band. I don't know what they're called. You know what I mean? Orchestra. That's it. They use a similar sounding orchestra to make similar sounding music, but it's the build up to that part which is unique and makes it iconic, which is funny because one of the criticisms of the song when it was first created was this intro bit is really, really long.
Yeah. If I were to pretty much levy any sort of like critique towards like the soundtrack, there's because I mean, I don't really have anything negative to say about the score itself. From John Williams, like even like the pieces that I would sort of levy a critique towards in terms of how they're implemented in the film, like is still good music and on its own right. Like when the barrels are kind of like rushing through the water and they're like chasing the shark after the barrels are placed, like some of the music
yeah.
in that sounds a bit too whimsical. Like that's like what
That
It
that
has to
music
have that
reminds me of
Spielberg
something.
feel to it.
Yeah, it's that like almost like the ET kind of like soundtrack to it. No, I know exactly what it is. It's oh god damn it, what's the name of the film? The one with the
Jurassic Park.
mechanical owl. The one with the mechanical owl.
Clash of
Medusa.
Titans?
That's it. There's like the bits where like the more whimsical bits, like when he finally gets to ride Pegasus and stuff like that. It's like da 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 da. That's exactly what it reminded me of. It's like you're in the middle of this really tense situation of trying to shoot this shark, and as soon as they shoot it, suddenly it's just like we're going on a merry chase across the sea. It's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, as far as like a piece of music on its own, it's still. I mean, it's good, but it just doesn't really. It doesn't quite fit with
It's
this.
misplaced.
A bit misplaced, yeah. But
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I don't really have. Other than that, I mean, that's probably like the thing that kind of just stick. The one thing about the music and how it's implemented in the film that kind of sticks out to me in a way that I can even remotely say is kind of a con. Because every other instance of like music, like the suspense and what have you, it's implemented masterfully, pretty much. And let me see if I can get someone named Shark Vomit. I don't know who that is. I can't even get him on.
Who?
Oh, it's Lau. It's
Hey,
Lau. He
guys.
just nicked me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why
I
would
got
you
eaten
call
by
yourself that?
an infamous land shark. Ate me while I was talking, and that's why I couldn't. That's why I disappeared for a little bit. I'm back.
All right. pretty loud on your end. Still.
Yeah, it ate a lot of people, so I'm going to mute myself when I have nothing to say.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Well, you got like some really cool, good shark sequences and what have you, with suspense, and well as the kills, what have you, with gruesome deaths. Like whether you see them like Quint, dying horribly, or a guy's leg falling into the bottom of the sea floor after he gets attacked, or the girl at the beginning who gets thrashed about, and while you don't see the gore, even the aftermath of it, once her body's found, you could just in fact, even like the bits of like where the scene where Brody's like flipping through pages and what have you, and even seeing like some of the shark injuries, are just like, oh damn, oh god, I can only imagine what happened with that girl. It's very gruesome, what have you. Like your imagination can be just as horrific as if they were just to explicitly show it. But yeah, there's also like the quieter moments like that kind of really add character to it. Like you have like the quieter scenes, like the little dinner table scene and what have you, where Brody and his younger son, they're kind of just hanging out. Younger son's kind of mimicking him, his dad, and they're just kind
So
of
at least calming down of all the situation that was happening to him.
yeah, just giving him a bit of a reprieve, and what have you. Just being like, hey, can you give Daddy a kiss? It's kind of a just because he needs it. It's a really nice tender moment, and it's kind of followed up with Hooper coming in with some wine, and Brody and wife and Hooper, they just have a talk, have a chat. Pretty neat stuff going on. We're just like, so how's your day?
Sorry.
Yeah, and they just asked, so how's your day been? He's like, swell. Yeah, it's like you kind of get it, because they went through quite a day, especially when Brody essentially was kind of blamed for the kid Alex, for essentially dying, because even though, like, what was he supposed to do? Like, he was kind of taking orders from a mayor who did not give a shit. I mean, I don't know if we want to get into him in a bit or not.
He's an asshole. Not that.
That's also brilliant.
Oh yes.
It's on me by the personability of the characters is so well done in this film, just in terms of everybody's like varying viewpoints, and it's like, oh, someone has just been brutally killed, like torn to shreds, and the guy's like, so yeah, this won't affect sales though, right?
It's like, you sure? But I was like, are you sure that it's like, yeah, well, 4th of July though, man, come on.
By the way, I wanted to ask, did they leave the mafia plotline in the movie?
The what?
Oh, so it's not in the movie. Okay, so in the book, the mayor has had some bad business with some dangerous people, and that's why he's so, concerned with the sale. And if I'm not misremembering, there's one scene where he's just like straight up escaping town because of everything that's going on, and because he's probably gonna get killed at any point if he's still there, because they're not making enough money. That's not in the movie,
no.
right? Like, did they cut that? Okay.
That's kind of, I think that would spoil it a little bit, because with everything that's going on, you don't want to over clutter things. With a book, you kind of need like extra stuff going on sometimes, but with a film, you need to. That's why short stories often get made into films, because you don't have to translate as much information onto the screen. But
Yeah.
what I really enjoyed about the mayor is the whole thing. His entire focus is he wants to make the town successful, which obviously requires the beaches being open, but to the point where he actively wants the town to look normal. He actively wants the town to look happy and joyous. So even though everybody is on the beaches and technically speaking enjoying like the island, he's still pushing people into the water, even though they don't want to go in. It's like it's purely because of him people got in trouble,
Yeah.
which is why I think the scene in the hospital where the chief goes up to him in the hospital and the chief's saying, look, you need to do this, you need to do that, but the mayor is so focused on trying to make excuses, like for a speech he's writing or something. He's so focused on it that he's almost not hearing the chief. It's like that is a very great character work there.
Yeah, he's like, well, it's like maybe August and all that, and Brody's so like, you fucking idiot, okay? Like, forget it, it's over. Just sign the check for the 10 grand to pay Quint so that he could go out there and kill that thing. Like, it's done. Summer's over, dude. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
really like the
Oh, keep,
yeah, go
keep,
on.
keep. No, I was going to say keep going because I was just going to point out that Alien is described as, like Jaws in space, and basically those things are also taken from Jaws to Alien. That's all I want to say.
Oh yeah, I suppose the corporation, all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Hey
Yeah.
guys,
But,
I have something to say.
Good.
I'm going to be leaving a little sooner.
All right.
Yeah. But before I go, CNMS, as for the thumbnail I'm making for your GXK video, it's almost finished. I think you'll like it.
cool. It's almost certainly going to be finished before I get anywhere near looking at my video again. But thank you anyway. I'll look forward to seeing it.
But
Alright.
before I go, can we all at least agree that Jaws is one of the few movies that should never had sequels to begin with? Like, say what you will about Jurassic movies, at least they had something to say. Whereas I feel like the Jaws sequels really felt unnecessary.
I think it's just because like the Jaws films, like the sequels never really the sequels, they just kind of like, let's just do the original again, but obviously they yielded to like, like steadily and diminishing results, what have you, in terms of quality.
Was it number 3 where they had the rubber shark toy like crash into a glass, like underwater
Yes.
glass wall thing?
Yeah,
Yes,
3D.
that's the third one.
Just 3D.
And the fourth one is the one where the sharks roars and has vengeance against Martin's wife.
Yeah, I mean, Jaws 2, it's kind of like Jaws 2 has Roy Scheider as Brody back, pretty much. I mean, Jaws 2 didn't really do anything crazy as the other ones, pretty much. That one was just kind of like a average sequel, like not good, but it's not terrible, really, just kind of there.
But other than that, I am going to leave. But before I go, to any people, I have an Instagram by the name Koshi0071. My Twitter is Antonio Sip 54255. My Reddit is Fluid Main 8431. And as for my Blue Sky, it's also Antonio Sip 54255. So, Sea Monster, good luck on the next week because the next week it's the big one, the one we all were dreading.
Yeah. Thank you for wishing me.
And CMS, will you also be there next week?
I kind of have to be, don't I?
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
As for you, Lau,
I'm literally going to kill anything that gets in the way of me being there. So yeah.
well, let's all enjoy our suffering while we're there. So, yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day and fingers crossed that we don't lose our sanity when we're watching that.
All right.
Lose
Bye,
it? I never had it.
Yeah.
See you later.
See you later. Yeah. So, all right. So, what's yeah, the thing about the mayor is like you cut like on the one hand, like you kind of understand that like you want like some business in this town because like tourism and what have you, and beach going, especially in like summertime. Like that's like you kind of want to be able to have your town be able to run, financially well. But yeah, but he's kind of like it. He definitely represents the point where of like how that sort of mentality can can just like cloud your judgment, your better judgment when it comes to like public safety and what have you. Especially with the way he disregards Brody, who is kind of a newbie essentially to the town. Like he could just walk over him. Like even when like Brody essentially like types up shark attack on the case file about the girl, but then the mayor kind of shows up, meets up with him, and just like he has like a whole squad with him, like as if they're about to like
Yeah. He turns around and there's just like a mob of people around him. He's like, yeah, so this is my court.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, what you doing, man? Like, why are you typing
that's kind of what like Lau was saying about the whole mafia thing. It's almost like that's the translation of it into the film. Is like the mayor has his mafia of people and he's paid off the doctor to change his mind on the cause of death and stuff like that. It's almost like it's a sort of an echo of what was there.
Yeah. Yeah, I just like yeah, I'm not sure what else to really say about that, but yeah, it's kind of, like it really like he almost seems like a mob boss, just like, and he has like a pack of goons, just kind of with him, just to like corner Brody and to just be like, no, just say it's a boating accident, all right, because we don't want people to be scared of sharks.
Yeah, it almost reminds me also of something that happened later, like decades later, with Hot Fuzz, when they're all like for the greater good.
Oh
It's
yeah.
kind of this, yeah, because you have like an old guy from every single aspect of the town being like, yeah, no, we need to keep going, we can stop right now. And then, like the younger generation gets completely fucked because of that. So I guess you can also say that there's like a generational, older generation fucking up the younger generation theme somewhere there.
It's not even like the old and new and everything. It's just kind of like the fact that Brody, came from New York, and he's kind of like a more recent addition to the police department of Amity. That's why like the mayor is able to like kind of like strong arm him into just sort of say there was a boating accident that killed the girl as opposed to a shark, because they don't want the sales to be affected once 4th of July comes around. But yeah, even then, they still, like, even when they have, like, it's like you already have, like, a decent amount of people. You have, like, the loads of people coming into town, for the weekend. And you already have plenty of people at the beach as it is. Like, you're just kind of have, like, a higher concentration of, like, police presence and Coast Guard, just keeping track of things, in case the shark goes up. And the mayor just kind of decides to be a cock ass, and he just decides, is like, yo, man, you take your kids up to the water. We'll do it. Do it. And just inspiring everyone else to do it, to just follow suit. And that just kind of results in a panic when, like, it's not even like with the shark isn't even there yet. They see it, someone sees a dorsal fin, and it turns out, and everyone panics, trampling over each other. It just turns out to be just a couple of kids,
Oh, I love that scene.
Yeah, it's like a false alarm.
The reactions of all the reactions from everybody, from like I think there's a kid or two kids on a inflatable. Is it Lilo? What's it called now? I can't remember now. The inflatable thing. There's two kids on it, and they're sitting there going, "What's going on? What's happening?" Whilst people rush past them, and then some bloke tips them off of it, and then jumps on it himself to try and swim away faster. And I was like, "You get."
He just steals it. He's like, "Give me that! It's mine. Give me that! I'm using it."
You kids die. I'm getting out of here.
Oh my god. Yeah, and it was all just a false alarm, essentially. Like, even the police just have their guns out drawn at the two kids.
Oh, That is brilliant. It's in reality that doesn't really work because like the amount of time from the kids like taking the fin off and then poking their heads out the water and looking round, the amount of time it takes them to do that, and the police are still pointing their guns at them. The police would have pulled their guns away ages ago, but it has to be like that because otherwise that just wouldn't work. And
I
honestly, I
mean,
think we can
yeah,
allow because that is a very funny scene.
yeah. I mean, I guess you could also say like maybe they weren't like they pretty much didn't want to like start shooting while there were like still people like evacuating the beach, because they don't want to accidentally shoot someone down, in case there was a shark there.
Funny thing is, if it was a shark, they will never get to shoot it. But for the time, it's 100% believable that people wouldn't realize that. So, yeah, probably they will have killed someone before they even touched the shark with a bullet.
But here's the thing: in a way, you could say that those two kids that were, whether they were doing a prank or not, or what have you, like it's a prank potentially, because the one kid was like ratting the other one out, like he made me do it. Like those two kids were almost like unsung heroes in a way because the shark actually does arrive just at a different section of the beach. So
They were trying to save everyone. Yeah, yeah.
no, I don't think the intent. No, they unintentionally saved
I'm joking.
a
I'm
lot of
joking.
people.
But it would be funny if they were like time travelers trying to like scare everyone out of the water because they watched the movie and they know what's gonna happen.
No, they're vigilantes essentially.
Yeah. Shark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like what I like is that the dog didn't die in the end. Like you think the dog died, but then it comes out of the water and by the end, doesn't it?
The dog?
Yeah. Remember there
I
was
don't
a dog
remember seeing the
on the
dog.
beach.
I mean earlier on.
Yeah, there's a dog playing with one of the kids, and then for a moment you think that maybe the dog died because one of his toys or the color washes ashore before everyone starts dying. Don't you remember that part, or did I make it up?
I
in my
don't
head?
think that
Because,
was even.
that happens.
I don't think that happened in the
bit-
movie at all. There's a
There's a
like
bit
in
earlier, before the 4th of July, in the second death when the kid gets eaten. There's a bloke throwing a stick for a dog, and then you see him shouting for the dog, and then just the stick floating in the water, and it's
yeah.
supposed to give you the idea that the dog's been got by the shark.
Oh, okay.
I
So that
don't
was
remember the
earlier.
dog. I don't
Okay.
remember the dog popping up afterwards, though.
No, that never happened.
Oh, maybe I made it up. Okay. Okay. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, Mandela
That
effect
happens-
going on here. What's happening?
That happens in oh god, what the hell is that? The Beast, if you've seen that one, which is also a film based on the same guy who wrote Jaws, but it's about a giant squid.
Okay.
Oh.
Actually, you know what? I think Lau might be mistaking Jaws for the Meg there because that was a whole gag where you thought the dog gets killed by the Meg, but it turns out she's alive as well.
Well, like when I went to watch Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen as a little kid, I literally made up an entire scene in my head live while I was watching it in the cinema. And then when I came out of it, I was telling my friend, "Do you remember that scene where they did that?" And he was like, "That never happened." So maybe I did the same thing for Jaws. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's what happened too.
I think you may have mistaken it. I think you mistook a scene of a dog surviving a shark attack for, like, in the Meg for a scene in Jaws.
The thing is, I never watched the Meg, so that will be hard. But it's not impossible. Maybe I watched something on YouTube, or maybe yeah, it's a Mandela effect thing. I'm just spreading misinformation to like. I'm just lying like it's natural to me.
Why the
Damn you,
fuck
Anthony.
lying?
And I'll change my last name to Gramola.
Mr. Who?
Lao Hu.
Oh God. But trying to think what else. Yeah, there's also the you also kind of like you really get the sense that Amity is pretty much like I really dig like how the film kind of has character interactions, like earlier on where there's like also where like so many people like talking at once, not just the main characters. Like you could hear where you could just hear characters like Brody and Hooper talking just enough while everyone else is just like chit chatting away. Like this whole conversation's happening at the same time, from like background
Yeah.
characters. It makes it
There's a
feel
couple
like
of times like that, yeah.
yeah, it makes it feel like a real place, what have you, with like real people essentially. Like you also have like that town council scene, pretty much, town hall, and you got like all these other people just sort of like chit chatting away, and you got like some people like joking of like is the mother paying cash or check? You got that, and you got like some people just going, see, I don't think that was pretty tasteless. That's not funny. And then there's like some commotion going on about how there's like how they're talking about like closing up the beach. The mayor, like Brody says, we're going to close the beaches. Mayor says only for 24 hours, and Brody's like, I didn't agree to that, and it just leads to this commotion.
It's just all happening at once. It's like we're closing the beaches. All right, so for 24 hours. Oh no, I didn't say that. Oh,
I didn't agree to that. Yeah, and then it's just like it all just pretty much crescendos essentially to just Quint scratching on on the chalkboard to get everyone to shut the fuck up and then pay attention to him for a bit. Be like, all right, it's like, all right, now listen here, folks.
It's funny how now you have movies that maybe have like one character talking, but you still don't understand anything they're saying. Meanwhile, this movie from the 70s had like an entire like this is a perfect example of the opposite. Like super well recorded audio. The mix is awesome, and it's all adding to the tension of the scene. Like audio is super important.
Yeah, and you also have like the scene where that kind of has a montage of the people arriving for 4th of July weekend, and you cut to like scene where bits where Brody and Hooper are like on the phone calling up as many people like at the same time to just kind of like get everything prepared, for the influx of people, arriving because of the shark, because like 4th of July, it's gonna be like a buffet for the shark. Yeah, it's kind of like bits where in the film where that you don't really think about all that much, but in the grand scheme of things, but it's like it's nice details in terms of the direction that makes it where it really adds to the verisimilitude of what you're watching. Really, like it makes it feel like an actual world.
Yeah. It's in part is the writing too. But
Yeah.
the thing is, from the moment you have the script to the moment you're shooting, things could have changed a lot. So now that I think about it, I want to read the script, to see how much was changed on the same day. Kind of like Joker did it, where you have things that are completely different. I want to see if maybe some of those scenes have been going through the same process. Okay, we don't have the animatronics, so let's change all of this. How the final script ended up comparing to the final cut of the movie, like that will be interesting. So I'm going to do that later on.
Yeah, like the dialogue in the film and the character interactions, like they pretty much don't really come off as like they're reading from a script. Like they come off as like actual people, like talking with each other, having conversations, and the way the scenes are directed, like you feel like you're like actual people who are just crowding around, like a shark carcass, pretty much that's just been brought ashore. And you only save like the more dramatic moments for when there's a point where everyone has to like quiet down because of the, like for instance, the mother of of the kid who the bounty was kind of like put on for people to kill the shark that killed the kid. She's like in funerary garbs and what have you, and she has a conversation with
Morning dress.
Brody. Yeah, morning dress. Yeah, it's just kind of it's all in the direction essentially that makes it all seem all the more natural. Essentially,
It's the
how
effective use of silence and noise.
yeah. Like the film that and the fact that it was like one of Spielberg's like earlier works essentially. It's like real. It's quite impressive, really. Like how it was all pulled off. Like how
It's quite jarring when you see his earlier stuff. And there's a lot of stuff like this where you see somebody's earlier work and there seems to be a lot more shine to it, a lot more flavor, personability to it. It's because they are still like connected to the real world, as it were. So people, all these like the massive noise. There's lots of people talk over each other, and the characters feel a lot more like real people. And it's because the director and the writers and all that sort of thing are small time and they're still connected with the real world. And then you get something like
Super 8,
Indiana Jones
for
and the
example.
Crystal Skull.
Oh
Sorry?
yeah. I was going to also say Super 8, which is not bad, but it's missing that. It's missing that something.
Oh,
that
Super
Spielberg-
8, yeah. I've not
Yeah.
seen that one. I've heard mixed things. But yeah, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, I just remember thinking, what on earth is this film? And then I watched the special features for it, and you just have George Lucas saying, so yeah, we're wondering what to make this film, and then Spielberg just kept going on about aliens all the time, so that's what we ended up making it about. It's just like, yeah, they've grown so far away from their groundedness that their films don't feel like it anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to make a correction because I was looking at it, and turns out that Steven Spielberg produced Super 8, but it was directed by J.J. Abrams, which actually explains everything when I said that it was missing something. So never mind.
I mean, you wouldn't really be faulted for for thinking that Spielberg may have done Super 8 because that movie was like wearing the Spielberg isms like on its sleeve. It's like
it was really I remember also seeing a lot of Spielberg in the interviews, even though he was a producer. So I think that maybe when I was young, I didn't realize that J.J. Abrams was the action director.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen Super 8 like once, and it was like when it like first came out in theaters. I imagine like if I were to watch it again, I would say it'd be like, well, I mean, it's not great, but believe it or not, it might be one of J.J. Abrams' better films as far as him being a director. Considering his resume.
But what else has Steven done lately, or at least his latest projects before he turned into full suit mode?
Yeah.
Crystal Skull was the last one, or was there something else?
Wait, Spielberg? Are you talking about? Wait, what are you talking about?
What were his last projects as a director?
Are you talking about one of Spielberg's last projects, or?
Yeah, Spielberg. I'm looking for it right now.
No, Crystal Skull isn't even close to one of his last projects. That was 2008.
Okay,
Spielberg
I'm looking.
He's made a lot of movies since then. Still.
Okay. I didn't know that. I thought he had stopped a long time ago.
Ready Player One.
Oh my god, I remember. Yeah, Ready Player. Oof. Yeah, that's very dissociated from real life. and even like actual times, which like he's an older person, so I understand it. But yeah, like Ready Player One was really good.
I'm just going down the list. I'm like, not heard of that, not heard of that, not heard of that. Lincoln, I've heard of that. Warhorse, I've heard of that. Tintin, The Secret of the Unicorn.
Warhorse is basically Lassie with a horse. You know where Lassie is like, oh, this dog is going from little family to little family and he's changing their lives, and you see like all of these stories through the animal's perspective as they go back to their owner, but with a horse. It's not that, but it's basically Lassie.
I keep
Um,
forgetting that Spielberg made the West Side Story remake with Rachel Zegler.
I also forgot about that. Yeah, me neither.
Apparently,
Yeah.
he's got 3 upcoming projects.
As a director,
Yeah.
I'm looking through Wikipedia. I'm only seeing one for 2026, but it's untitled.
wait. Also, he directed the Fablemans. I remember that was nominated for an Oscar. Was that about himself?
I've never even heard of this movie. Oh, yeah, it's based on, apparently it's loosely based on his early life and beginnings as a filmmaker. So it's like semi-autobiographical, but he kind of like renamed the character essentially. Or wait, no.
Uh-huh.
Oh wait, no, hold on. It's no, it's a fictional character. Yeah, it's just kind of loosely based on his early life.
Okay.
I've never
So
even heard of this
Fablemans,
movie.
I heard some really good things, but again, it was like whoever watched it said nice things, but it wasn't like a huge hit or anything.
No.
I don't know if it failed either, but yeah, nominated for an Oscar. That doesn't mean much, but like it's not bad either. And then
Yeah.
for 2026, it says untitled science fiction film. So, you know, that could be good or not. Like, let's see next year what it is.
Hmm. It looks like okay, there isn't really
Godzilla
any.
2.
Oh my god, it is loud. I can't. Yeah, okay, thank you. Sorry, Lau. It is overwhelming.
Yeah.
Supposedly this sci-fi film that's untitled, that Spielberg is working on. Apparently, it's going to be like a UFO film.
Oh,
Something
God.
about an alien, another alien film. Maybe it's an origin story for the Crystal Skull
On
aliens.
IMDb, it just says untitled Steven Spielberg Amblin Universal event film.
I
With
wish he does
Wyatt
like
Russell
a horror
in it,
movie.
and Emily Blunt.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking at here. Same thing. It's on Wikipedia as well. So yeah, it kind of lines up. Emily
Wait.
Blunt,
Chavo Guerrero,
Chavo
as in the
Guerrero.
wrestler. And there's another wrestler in it as well. What the hell is this film?
Aliens versus wrestlers.
Oh my god, there's 2 of them. No, 3. There's 3 of them.
I'm telling you, it's the sequel of Aliens versus Cowboys, Aliens versus Wrestlers.
Yeah, Brian
Okay.
Cage. Didn't see that. Oh my god.
We got Minecraft World here.
Hi,
Yay!
I live. I was originally not going to join, but and I don't know how long I'll stay because my boss may need me. He has not given me a time yet, but we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, how long were you sitting in the backstage there? Because we were kind of looking.
Just a few minutes. I literally just got breakfast.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. We were just kind of going through Spielberg's filmography because we've talked quite a bit about Jaws already.
All I really have to say about Spielberg is that the guy, he's my personal favorite, huge inspiration to me. Also, Jurassic Park is my second favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
Condom got knocked down a peg recently, not because of its quality, but because of its discourse.
Yeah. But as far as like where Jaws is, it's Jaws was only like his 4th film that he's ever made.
I think that was the one that put him on the map.
Yeah, it's the one that really put him on the map. Okay. Yep. Okay. Here's Duel. That was his 2nd film. I thought you were saying Jewel there for a second there, Cinemus, when you referenced the film.
Oh, it's English pronunciation.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, accent differences. That's what.
All right. Fair enough. But yeah, as far as what else can really be said about Jaws? It's a really very well made film. Classic piece of cinema. Yeah,
it's a masterpiece. It will forever remain that way. If any contrarian decides to come up to us and say otherwise, I will smack you.
If they make a video like that, I would. You know what? I almost wish somebody would do that.
Watch Adam does movies, do a re-release, do a re-review of it, and say just that.
All these movie fans say that Jaws is a great classic of a film, but I watched it and I wasn't even scared of the shark.
The shark had a mustache
early on. Like, oh God.
Nothing
the shark doesn't even jump.
The story didn't make any sense. It's stupid. It's Twilight for the fish fanatics.
That girl at the beginning just sort of flapped around a lot a bit, and he's supposed to find that scary. I don't understand what throwing herself around is meant to be scary. God, that guy's stupid.
They want to tell us, instead of showing us like she screams that it hurts, show me how much it hurts. I don't see it, so therefore
that girl. The girl at the beginning, she looks like she's like having a seizure, going.
Oh man!
Oh no! This is horrible.
Honestly, though, Adam probably would still like whole appreciation for it. Let's be blunt here. But,
there's no way he would make that kind of review on Jaws. That would be crazy.
Maybe it's an April Fool's joke, but like.
But think about it. Though, think about it. The title will be "Are Grifters Wrong About Jaws?"
No, that's a Gramulia title.
Oh no!
Oh, no.
Oh man, that's.
I am so glad I have him muted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
What else is there left to say? Like, we have gone through most of it, right? Even comparing it to the novel in some parts, talking about the real life stuff.
I still need to read the novel. I have not read the novel in a while.
I have it in Portuguese. I have this really fucking awesome edition that has like the jaws of the shark like in the whole cover.
Ooh.
Like it's so good, and yeah, I'll send it to you later. And the pages are all red. You know, like how some Bibles are golden on the outer side of the pages. Here they're all red. It's so good.
My! Oh, that is awesome.
Brazil has the best editions for books I have seen in my fucking life, and here in Europe, it's all downhill. It's like, we have security, we have economic and stability.
Dude, I believe you. That is just how the heck did you that? Wow.
Actually, I think I sent some pictures of that edition once. I sent it to you when I was also talking about the Brazilian edition of Alien, the novelization.
Yeah, I think maybe resend it. Just
in
case I forgot. Ooh. Yeah. But
I suppose one question we could ask about Jaws, just to like tap off the stream and be like, yeah, we've asked all the important questions, we discussed all the important aspects. Is the shark fuckable?
Anything is fuckable under the right conditions.
That's true.
Yeah.
Como decimos en español, cualquier agujero es trinchera en momentos de guerra.
See,
What?
Isn't
You
right.
have to learn Spanish to get that one because if I translate it, you wouldn't. Like, it would sound really ugly. But basically, any hole is a trench in times of war.
yeah.
Any holes a goal?
Yeah. I mean, Cooper Primmets did say in the film, like, this shark has like has a simple goal: swim around, eat, and make swim around, eat, so on, so on, and make little sharks, and that's all it has to do. So there's got to be a hole somewhere. Like if it has,
definitely.
well, granted, I mean, there's a whole. I mean, granted, like sharks have to shit, so it's not like so. There is still. Never mind.
There's a Steve Irwin parody out there somewhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. No,
And
I
I'm
guarantee
now-
there's
and
gonna
I
be at
will
least
not-
one. There is at least one porn parody of Jaws.
And I will not seek
Definitely.
it out.
And it is, and I promise you that there's a girl with a shark costume. By the way, I sent you the image that I sent of the alien novelization, and on the back you can see the novelization for the novel for Jaws. Do you see it?
Could you get a clearer image of that? I want to. Oh my God, that is.
When I get home, I'll send it to you. But yeah, you can already see how good that cover is. It's so
That looks
fantastic.
beautiful.
I know,
Sea
right?
Monster? Sea Monster, you need to find the Jaws porn parody and do a review of it.
Oh
No.
God!
Live here.
If
Like, you
anyone,
have to stream it.
no, Animus. If anyone's gonna do it, I'll
Live.
send it. No, if anyone's gonna do it, I'll send it to Joey, to Gojin.
Yeah, his
Oh,
server.
good
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, because they already did a TMNT porn parody watch through.
Well. Oh God!
I dread to think.
There's already apparently on IMDb. There's a 1976 Jaws parody called Gums.
Ew.
Gums.
Ew.
Yeah, ooh, I think is the appropriate reaction to that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. Let's not. Let's not go down this rabbit hole.
Alright.
Yeah.
Let's not go down the gum hole.
No. Oh God. No.
Don't, Animus, you made it worse.
Throw out the chum. Why's it all white?
Yeah.
Just throw it out.
But yeah, Jaws is definitely a film worth talking about, especially for its
I would go as
centennial.
far as to say legendary by nature.
Yeah.
I've had this discussion with Rooney before about like what legendary and mythical would mean. What criteria would this be? I'd say Jaws fits the criteria, not only just because it's good, but also this thing is the one that created the blockbuster, like what we would call the blockbuster. So
Yeah. And also the fact that it literally changed people's lives, like to the point where a lot of people didn't got this fear of the ocean that they didn't know that they had before.
yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Granted, the fear of the ocean has been a consistent thing in mythology and folklore. Jaws is just a modern translation of that.
Yeah, but what I mean is that some horror movies change people. For example, Scream made that the sales for caller ID tripled.
Yeah.
Tripled.
Yeah.
So after Scream, people got that fear. And for example, Final Destination, after that movie came out, no one wanted to drive behind one of these trucks that have the logs on them because of that scene. Like there are certain movies every so often that just activate fear in people's minds.
Yeah, or for an opposing example made by Spielberg himself, Jurassic Park created the one transformed how people viewed dinosaurs to this day. They turned from lumbering beasts to magnificent animals that are still quite terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jaws, really good movie. Check it out, folks.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's on Netflix too.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
mean,
even-
you don't. I mean, at this point, y'all don't even need us to tell you to go check it out. Like you
Yeah.
should, like you pretty much should have watched it already. If you haven't, then you're a bad man.
Yeah.
The only optional thing, I guess, will be
if you haven't
the novel.
seen Jaws, you're an uncultured swine.
That is true, actually. Like, there's no denying it. That is true. It's not even a
Yeah.
joke. The only thing that's optional is the novel. A lot of people might not like it, but I will say try it. Like, give it a try because it's not badly written. But yeah, there are some scenes that you'll be happy, and I think it helps you appreciate the movie even more. By the way, I did send you the picture of that edition on general.
Ooh. Oh, that looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, like you could be living in a third world country, where you pretty much have where you pretty much have very little access to like anything that even like so much as the internet, and I guarantee you would pretty much know where the phrase "we're going to need a bigger boat" comes from. Like, cause it is that iconic of a film.
Yeah.
Like,
Or the theme will be blaring at some point, and you'll recognize, oh, that's from that movie.
Yeah. It's happy 50th anniversary, Jaws. Day before Shark Week started. Apparently.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Shark Week.
Oh. Yeah. Well, you forgot about that.
Yeah, that's happening. That starts tomorrow.
The worst part is that Shark Week has spread so much misinformation, and one of the places where they did it the most was on Discovery Channel. The supposedly scientific channel for common people on TV.
Yeah.
Like, the irony.
There's a lot of really good ones that are pretty accurate, but recently it's been a lot of misinformation and spectacle instead of actual science.
In the early 2000s, it was even worse. Like, it was all about top 10 shark killings of all time, and then you have like the dramatization with the stock footage. Like it was a lot of that. So like it's sad. And now they're talking about Megalodon all the time, or as we know it, Megalon all the time.
Megalon. Oh man, but yeah, I guess we could just kind of I guess unless there's anything else anyone has to say about Jaws, like final words, before, we could just start closing things out here.
One thing I wanted to say is, has there been any like 4K upgrades or anything announced for the anniversary?
Not to my knowledge. I'm pretty sure that might change, considering a lot of films are getting 4K releases recently, so I'm pretty sure that's going to change unless Jaws already has a 4K.
Let me see. Looks like there is one. There's a 50th anniversary limited edition 4K coming up. Coming out.
Really?
Let me see. Let's see what else. There's a limited edition Steelbook 4K. For 50th anniversary. Let me see. It is looks like it's it looks like it's been out now at this point.
Oh.
I think it's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's one of those movies. Yeah, Jaws would have to be one of those movies that would have had the 4K release out like a while ago at this point. It's just a matter of like how many editions for the anniversary do they just kind of like release? What have you? Like you get like 40th, 45th, 30th, and so on and so on. I mean, obviously not 4K in some of those cases, but still.
Yeah, the cover art for the 4K for the 50th anniversary is nice, but it's basically the typical poster we all know with some faces added, floating heads, basically, from the main three characters around the shark. It's not the best, but yeah, it's not bad. I wonder if it will come with, like, with all of the, because here's the thing. For example, the Alien Anthology comes with like 12 hours of documentary between all the movies, and maybe even more. I hope that if they're going to have this 50th anniversary version, that it comes with everything that came before and a little bit more, hopefully. Yeah, I'm surprised that there's nothing more than just that, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks it's pretty much 4K release is readily available. It's just that the Steelbook 50th anniversary one, that's kind of limited edition. That one's gonna be harder to find, but yeah, Jaws 4K shouldn't be too hard as far as like just a copy in general. Should be fairly easy.
Oh, and one more thing that I do know that maybe not everyone is going to be interested in. NECA released Bruce figure this year.
Yeah.
It can literally swallow other NECA figures, and it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like the like those like super colossal Jurassic World figures, except do it with the shark from Jaws. That could work. Why haven't they? It makes you wonder. Like they make a popcorn bucket, for Jaws, with the shark head that has the mouth open, and you just get popcorn out of it. Why not just make a Jaws figure that just swallows things? Like make it like
not like just a
just
fully
vacuum.
articulated Bruce figure. Like you can move the tail, the fin, the body. It's right there.
Yeah,
Right
they should
there.
make a vacuum. Like you have the vacuum and it has like the shark moving its jaws as you're vacuuming whenever you. Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, you got shark vacuums. It's in the name. It's right there. But yeah, I guess that's about it then. Thank you guys for coming on. Thanks Antonio, retrospectively, for coming on. Any final words or plugs? Anyone wants to do?
I am working on a meme animation that I started yesterday, and I also have a Gamera 60th anniversary thing coming up. I haven't really been working on the Nemesis essay recently because I have been in the mood for other things. Also, I have a short story that I'm writing based off of Cryptid. Well, kind of. I had an idea for it, and I started putting it to paper, and it's slowly being chipped away at. So yeah, I might be posting that somewhere. Maybe I don't know where. I'll probably ask Rooney to see if he has any places to post it. But yeah, short story thing. So that should be fun.
Awesome.
And also artworks on Instagram. You can see those. I have drawn either pretty much every single either OC kaiju or take on a previously existing kaiju that has been shared on the streams. Then that does include Sea Monsters Monolith and Lau's take on Gabara. So you can find those on Instagram and Blue Sky. I still need to transfer all my stuff to Kara too. So yeah. And
we got a quote from Black Corona here saying, "My favorite moment was when John Jaws said, 'This is it, man. We'll kick the bastard straight in the jaws.' It jawed all over the place."
You're still kicking with the morbid joke.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, Titanicus releases from Titanic Creations. They haven't articulated. Titanic is coming out soon. So yeah.
Cool. That's them. Yeah, John Jaws. That's like someone should just get on to having a character named that.
Ice. I wouldn't be surprised if there already is at least 2 people who have made OCs with that name.
And he punches people with fossils of ancient shark jaws. Like he has them on his
No,
hands.
his main weapon is like the 2 halves of a megalodon jaw.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Or actually, you know what? He literally punches people with a shark. Like he has a baby shark and he uses it as a club.
Yeah, and you could or have it, or even just have John Jaws just kind of be like the name of what the real name of King Shark or something for an iteration of that
I think
character.
it's Nanaue. I think the real name is Nanaue.
Yeah, well, I know that. I'm just saying, like, if you were to reboot that do a retelling of that character, his name should just be John Jaws.
You know, I'm also thinking of someone that's going with the Pirates of the Caribbean theme, and he's like swimming. Technically, you think he's on a ship or something, and then you look down, and he has strapped 2 little sharks to his feet. So he's basically like using them as a skateboard on the water, and that's how he like surfers around, standing on sharks.
But yeah, I mean, it's like that was a bit of a digression there. We're supposed to be shilling and wrapping up here. Lau, do you have anything, or do you pretty much want to just tell people who you are exactly?
No, it's fine. I'm starting to set everything up, but I was, for example, this month I was going to start streaming, but it turns out that the PC my mom brought from Argentina, I shit you not, it has 4 gigabytes of RAM, which it ain't shit. I cannot believe a PC is legally allowed to have so little. So I'll have to save up money, to have all my apps and draw live, which was the plan. So yeah, there's going to be a little bit of a delay for me to start doing stuff.
Oh, all right. Okay. And as for you, C Animus, what have you been doing? What you got going on?
Well, like I said earlier, I released a very short ramble video earlier about Ironheart and some of the things I've heard and some of the things I think are misheard, as it were. I do have other ideas for other videos. I just need to get round to them. Work is quite I was going to say abusive, that's not quite the word, exhaustive of late, and I think that's going to be happening for quite a while. So don't expect anything from me soon, but yeah, there are plans for things in the works.
All right. And well, all right. And this has been your host, the Sea Monster, and next week we got the Lil Platoon GXK stream lined up. Yep.
Oh god! Oh god! I still can't believe it's finally happening.
Yeah, I know. It's finally happening. It'll be my 300 sub special, spectacular, whatever you want to call it.
I'm assuming this is going to be 2 streams.
I hope not. Honestly, there's a reason why I want to start. Why I'm trying to start it as early in the day on my end as possible, because I really want to just to kind of avoid needing to do the splitting into 2.
I'm gonna make damn sure my schedule's clear for that.
Yeah, we're gonna make it a.
If I'm sick,
we're gonna have to.
I'll fight.
I think we're gonna have to have that at double speed or something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Even with double speed, we're going to get so triggered that it's going to be not enough.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, maybe not double speed. Maybe quarter speed. So it's at least I want to be able to at least have the points be comprehensible, at least, because
True. Because Platoon himself already talks fast. It's just it's just the amount of stuff that he talks about that's in there.
Yeah, I mean, and plus there's like a sec that you got like the first section of the video, like essentially the preamble, if you will, that that is already been pretty well traveled, especially by Cinemas. Before he even
Yes.
talks about the fucking movie itself.
Yeah.
Like that one could be pretty easy. We could easily like breeze through, essentially. Just kind of mainly.
But even then, it wouldn't hurt to like establish our base grounds there, and just I don't know, like start at the base and then go back and then further build it up.
Yeah, that's that's fair. And as part of some aside from that, my script for the upcoming essay video of mine on Nosferatu 2024 is more or less done. I mean, there may be like some tweaks here and there that I would like to do here and there, but other than that, it's pretty much done. The script. So, yeah.
See, so long as you reference film, that's going to be a 10 out of. If you don't reference Twilight for the Film Fanatics, it's going to be a 0 out of 10. I will be watching you.
There will be references to that stream in the video. I'm just gonna I'm not gonna say exactly where they're gonna come or what. I mean, I know that one will at least show up, but I want to. I don't want to give too many details of when it will pop up. All right, just saying.
Okay.
You got that coming up. Hopefully that will be done by October. At this point, it's pretty much guaranteed to be done by October at this point. So if I got done with the script and I just get onto recording, at some point, very soon. But yes,
guys, I was going to say that I'm leaving already because I'm about to get into Superman for the second time. So
Let's
bye,
go.
everyone. When I say. And I hope I like it as much as the first time. So bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
Yeah. And now there were 3. But yeah, as far as so kind of like follow me on here, subscribe to here, pretty much just for future updates, what have you. Follow me on Twitter for more or less the same thing. Sea Monster, KCI, blah blah blah. Y'all know what to do. Y'all know what can be done here. But once again, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for stopping by. Happy 50th anniversary to Jaws, and see y'all later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye for now.